Hey guys, this is Lindsay with Garage Gym Reviews, and I want to talk today about some of our top picks for lifting shoes. Now, a lot of these aren't like weightlifting shoes, right? You have like your Nike Romaleos, which are great for those who are wanting to just use a shoe for weightlifting. These are more for somebody who's wanting to do a lot of weightlifting, but mix in some other movements. So especially if you are in any sort of CrossFit style training, like you need to have a stable shoe to do some heavier lifts, but you also need to have the ability to do barbell cycling. You also need to have the ability to do running or box jumps or other various movements like that. So when we were going through picking out these shoes, that is kind of what we kept in mind. As we were going through this list, we kept in mind like the stability, the aesthetic, the durability, and the price point. Before we continue, make sure you are subscribed to our channel. Also, if you want to go ahead and purchase any of these shoes, we have a link below the like button for you to do that. And if you think that we are missing a shoe on this list, go ahead, call it out in the comments. I'd love to review it, check it out, use it for myself, and see what I think. A lot of times when people begin lifting, one of the things they don't realize is how important shoes are. Like, I do some training, I train some people. I see a lot of people come into the gym, they're a beginner, it's their first time lifting, and they have on Hokas and they're getting ready to like back squat. That is not the vibe. Like, I love Hokas. I think they are a great shoe. They are great for running. They are not great for lifting or things of that nature. Like, especially if you're learning how to do Olympic lifts, like don't do that in Hokas. Now I'm going to talk about the ones today that I use specifically. So these are all my shoes, but we also have a link below the like button that has a full article written review with other shoes on our list that have made the cut. And it's not just me who has tested this. We've had Olympic lifters, we've had weightlifters, we've had level 1 National Olympic lifters, CrossFit coaches, all test out these shoes, and we've all kind of pulled together to give them a rating of like 0 to 5 stars. So first I want to talk about these. These are the Nike Metcons. These are probably one of my favorite shoes if I'm going to do any sort of heavy lifting in a workout. One of the things I really like about them is they are super sturdy. And that was one of the things we came to consensus on, was that the stability on these shoes is definitely a 5 out of 5 stars. Now, I will say that it does take a little bit of time to kind of break these in, especially if you're doing any sort of CrossFit workouts. Like, they are a stiffer shoe, but that's what makes them so great at doing heavier lifts. Like, you need a solid base and you need to feel grounded on that platform in order to lift heavy. With these, I think that they can withstand a variety of movements, okay? So you have the ability to do box jumps on these, you have the ability to do sprints on these, but again, you also have the ability to do something like a heavy deadlift or even an Olympic lift like a snatch. Another thing I like about this is it generally has a wider toe box. Whenever I am lifting, and not just me, a lot of people, like, we want to spread out our toes as wide as possible in order to create that stable base, and this allows you to do that. Now, I will say that if you are somebody who is like looking to do just CrossFit style workouts and doesn't necessarily care about like maxing out on a back squat, maybe go with the Reebok Nanos. I really like those. But if you are somebody whose priority is heavy lifting and then CrossFit secondary, I would definitely go with a Nike Metcons 9. I've had these for quite some time. This is my second pair of Nike Metcons. And one thing I like about it is the aesthetic holds up. So one, they continue to look very nice even through grueling workouts, but also the stability holds up. I'm still able to feel grounded in my squats. I'm still able to feel that solid base. It has that wide toe box, and then overall just really comfortable, especially when you get past that kind of break-in period. Now, these are a little bit more expensive at $160. So if you are new to lifting, you might not need to spend the $160 on these, but I do think that it is worth the investment if you are somebody looking, again, for a shoe that is really stable, but also gives you the versatility of other movement. Last thing, I know that $160 is a steeper price tag. However, Nike does come with a 60-day return on the shoe. It also comes with a 2-year warranty on the top of the shoe. And then we've overall had great customer experience with Nike as a company. So I think that this is a really solid option to look at if you are looking for, again, a weightlifting shoe that gives you some variety in other movements. Okay, so these are the Powerlift 5, and they have a moderately elevated heel with an EVA foam insole. Now, an EVA midsole isn't necessarily the sturdiest of them. We've had a lot of Olympic lifters try these out. However, they might prefer like wood or stacked leather. However, if you are a beginning weightlifter, I think that these are a solid option. I actually have been weightlifting in these for probably like 2 years. This is my second pair of them because they are so comfortable. I actually don't like a super steep heel height. It actually kind of affects my knees. And so for me, having more of that like flat midsole is perfect. This is going to create a super stable base. So whether you are doing any sort of like powerlifting, you have your like deadlift, your squats, your front squats, or even if you're doing Olympic lifts, I have definitely snatched in these. I have definitely clean and jerked in these, and they felt really comfortable. Now, one thing just to keep in mind is the EVA midsole is a little bit more compressible than something like a stacked leather. So over time, you're going to have like not as much stability, not as much rigidity through the shoe. However, again, if you are a beginner weightlifter and you're not loading up the bar incredibly heavy, then I think that the EVA midsole is going to be just fine. This comes with a 16 millimeter heel height, which is different than something like we see with the Nike Ramaleo at like a 19 millimeter heel height. And so definitely for beginners, this is going to be an entryway into that like heel height. It's going to give you a lot of stability. Now, one thing that is different from the Metcons, right? This is not going to be something that is as good for like a CrossFit style workout. Do I think you can get away with it? Like I've definitely done box jumps in these. Yes, but is it my favorite shoe to use for like all a variety of movements? No, like I would definitely stick with more of like lifting or Olympic lifting with these shoes. Now, these are cheaper than the Nike Metcons, but they are still expensive at $130. One thing I will say is that you can go to the Adidas website and look for deals because these shoes come on sale quite frequently. In fact, the last time I got these shoes, they were on sale for $99 and I texted all my friends. We all ended up buying a pair because it was such a good deal. So definitely be on the lookout for that. With this shoe, if you are a beginner weightlifter, I think that this is actually a really good entry lifting shoe. If you are somebody stacking like 300 plus pounds on a back squat, looking for shoes, this is probably not the right shoe for you. Just because of the compressible EVA foam, like midsole in the middle, it's just going to wear out over time, become a little bit more cushioned and not as sturdy or stable as you are looking. But overall, I still am going to give this like a 5 out of 5 stars, especially keeping in mind a beginner weightlifter. All right, so Nobull, I'm sure if you are in the fitness world at all, you have heard of Nobull. I kind of feel like Nobull is like you either love them or you hate them. For me, I'm probably more on the latter. However, my friend Brittany only exclusively lifts in Nobull. It's not just me that kind of has questions about these, like our senior editor, Kate, who is an Olympic lifter, also tried these out, and her initial impression was that she wasn't sold on them. However, as she began lifting in them, she actually realized how stable these were. These are not like the most cushioned shoe. They definitely remind me more of something like a sturdy Nike Metcon. I actually think these are a little bit more cushioned. These are going to be super sturdy and create a nice base for you. Now, one call out that I do have is I do wish that the toe box was a little bit wider. For me, like it feels a little bit more narrow. I don't love that fact. And then also the toe kind of dips up at the top. So I didn't necessarily feel like I had even pressure on the ground as I was squatting or as I was snatching. And that is something I am always looking for because I don't want my toes to come up during a lift. But do I think these are a stable, sturdy, durable shoe? Like absolutely. I would probably give them like a 4.5 stars. I don't think they are as good as the Nike Metcons, but I still think they are a really good shoe for a specific type of foot. Now with these, they do not feature a heel height. They only have a 0.4 millimeter heel height. So again, compared to something like the Powerlifts at a 16 millimeter, it's definitely going to be a different feel. But if you are a beginner weightlifter and you are doing CrossFit style workouts, you want to go ahead and do box jumps, you want to go ahead and sprint or row in between cycling barbells or heavy lifts, I do think these are worth checking out. With the Nobull Outworks, I think the thing that does make them lend to be a better weightlifting shoe is they are a tad heavier. So they're definitely heavier than something like you see with the Reebok Natos, which again increases that stability, that pressure on the ground, that evenness through the foot. So for me, like these aren't my favorite, but a lot of people love them. The last thing I will say about these is I would make sure to size up half a size. I typically wear between like a 7 and a 7.5, and I ordered a 7 in these. If I ordered them again, I would go with a 7.5. Also, keep in mind that Nobull does make a weightlifting shoe. However, after trying it, I just can't recommend it. Let me know if I'm wrong about that, but I don't feel like I am. A lot of people here at GGR who do competitive weightlifting or Olympic lifting also aren't a huge fan of the Nobull weightlifting shoe. So let us know in in the comments what you think. But for me, like, I know that Nobull is trendy and I know a lot of people who like it. I just would prefer something like the Nike Metcons or even the Adidas Powerlift 5. Also, check out our website. We have a link below the like button connecting you to GarageGymReviews.com. It's going to show you our full list of weightlifting shoes that we have chosen, not just the ones that I've mentioned today. And it probably details a lot more of like the technical terms and the technical details about each shoe, about the heel drop, about the stability, about the like variety that they offer. So be sure to check that out. Now, this didn't make the cut because this isn't necessarily like a multifaceted shoe. These are very specific to weightlifting shoes, but these are the Reebok Legacy Lifters. These are my favorite shoes to lift in. If you have tried these, let us know in the comments below if you want us to do a full video review on these shoes or any other shoes that you think are worth checking out. Let us know below. This has been Lindsay with Garage Gym Reviews. Peace.